If you compare the last 48 months under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi and you compare it with the 48 years of governance of India under the rule of one family, there's a heaven and earth difference. You will find transformational changes in every sector, be it health, be it education, be it infrastructure. The fact that today in the last 4 months, in the last 4 years, where before 2014, India was known for its policy paralysis, for its corruption. The Indian story was written off literally by the entire world. But in the last 4 years, under the dynamic leadership of this strong Prime Minister, India has grown in stature in the entire world. The entire world is looking at India differently. The fact that today we are one of the fastest growing economies in the world. We have surpassed Japan, we've surpassed US, we've surpassed so many of the major big economies. Today we have the highest foreign exchange reserves. We have the highest amount of foreign direct investment coming into our country. In ease of doing business, which was something which was started by the Prime Minister as soon as he took over in 2014. In barely 4 years, we have jumped by 142 ranks to be in the top 100. Be it Moody's that has upgraded us to positive, be it the World Bank, everybody is looking at India as the bright spot in a global gloomy economy. India is that one bright shining spot. And to become all these things, to increase in your stature, has not happened without the hard work of a government where the leadership has been decisive, has been dynamic, and has reined in corruption, that the government in 4 years, not a single case of corruption anywhere in the government. And I think this is the reason that be it welfare, where we have schemes like Jan Dhan Yojana, which was rolled out, where 31 crore people of this 1.25 billion people, those 31 crore poor people who were never allowed inside a bank, their bank accounts were opened. Be it welfare insurance schemes like Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana or Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, where you can get an insurance for your accidental insurance for barely something like 1 rupee a month, which is 12 rupees a year, affordable by the poorest of the poor. Or you can have a life insurance for not even 1 rupee, very 90 paisa a day, which anybody can afford. Things like Mudra Bank, where crores of poor people have been empowered by being able to take a loan from the bank without having to give a collateral and improve on their plight, where they have the intelligence and the knowledge, but they do not have the means. Through Mudra Bank, these people have been empowered to upscale and to earn more and to become self-reliant. So I would say a host of things, whether it's giving gas cylinders to women who have spoiled their health just cooking in those in the primitive ways of burning firewood and other things, where crores of women, over 3.5 crore women have been given gas cylinders, where after 75 years of independence, there were still 18,000 villages which had no electricity. Each and every village has been electrified. 30 crores of LED bulbs have been distributed. So I would say that Prime Minister has gone down to basic necessities, whether it's giving houses to crores of people, whether it's giving electricity to crores of people, whether it's giving insurance to crores of poor people, whether it's Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, which is safeguarding the farmer against the vagaries of weather. So in every way, I would say that this government has not only internationally improved the standing and the rating of India, not only where you look at infrastructure, where our infrastructure, if you look at just things like roads and highways, which is double of what it was in the earlier regime, just in these 4 years, 48 months, what has been achieved under Prime Minister Modi is, I would say, 248 times more than what was under 48 years of a misrule of one family.
Madam, what are the most impactful initiatives and schemes under your ministry led by you?
Over the last 48 months, the food processing ministry has undertaken a number of initiatives to promote the food processing sector. First of all, it was made into a separate ministry, removed from agriculture, to give full focus to a ministry which has the potential to transform the lives of farmers as well as double their income, where this government has set a target of 2022 where farmers' income has to be doubled. So which is the reason that food processing sector plays one of the most crucial roles, because not only does the growth of the food processing sector means a growth in the demand of the farmers' agri-produce, because the raw material for this industry is the farmers' agri-produce. This is a sector which is one of the highest generators of employment. This is a sector which can play the most crucial role in controlling inflation, because today, while we are one of the highest producers of food, we process only 10%, due to which there are huge wastages. So lack of infrastructure, excess of wastage not only leads in spikes in prices and inflation where consumers suffer, but due to the lack of infrastructure and not getting proper prices, even the farmers suffer, where their produce is often wasted, and sometimes they are forced to just throw it because they do not get proper prices. So first of all, the focus on this sector, I would say year one of the most dynamic initiatives taken by this government was to put up a corpus of 2,000 crores in NABARD to give affordable credit to this sector, which banks would not finance very easily because of its seasonal nature, because of its high input cost. This sector was not growing the way it should, so a corpus was created specially for the growth of the food processing sector. It was put in the priority sector lending, many duties and tax concessions were given to promote this sector. I would also say that besides all these other things, one of the main things done was the grounding of infrastructure through the food processing ministry through its various schemes. If I talk about my ministry, there were many good schemes which are started by the erstwhile UPA government. But unfortunately, these schemes were only on paper, there was nothing on the ground. And unless something happens on the ground, it is not going to impact the people or the farmers. For example, the Mega Food Park scheme, where 42 Mega Food Parks were sanctioned in 2008. And one park should come up in 2 years. But in 6 years, out of 42, only 2 came up. I am happy to say that while they could only put up 2 out of the 42 in 6 years, we've got 15 of them ready in just 4 years, with the aim being that each one of them is going to be ready over the next 1.5 years. Same with the cold chain scheme. If we want to reduce our wastage, we need to bring in cold chain infrastructure. While 108 cold chains were sanctioned, but if only 37 of them become operational in 10 years, then obviously not enough is being done. While they operationalized just 37 in 10 years, we've operationalized close to 100 in 4 years. So in every way, whether it's grounding of the infrastructure, whether it's creating a corpus to create an environment for this food processing sector to grow, whether it's bringing in policy decisions like 100% FDI in retail of food manufactured and grown in India, which has given such a boost that the FDI in the food processing sector increased by 40% the year that we announced it, and by 60% the second year after that. In World Food India, which was the first time in India we had showcased the strength in the food processing sector, and within 3 days we signed MOUs worth $14 billion with the top companies and the top countries, and 1/3 of those grounding has already started 3 months down the line. Same way, I would say that there were many other roadblocks which may not be connected with my ministry, but affected my ministry. For example, Food Safety Standard Authority of India gave product by product approval, which was leading to huge delays. We worked closely with them and changed the entire system to the way it harmonized it with international systems where ingredient approval is done, which has totally cleared up this roadblock, and now the sector is flourishing. I'm happy to say that in the last budget, it was the only ministry whose budget was not only doubled, but also something which we had been pushing for, which is announcement and implementation of a financial institution specially to fund the food processing sector, was also announced and agreed upon, and we are working, and hopefully that too is going to become a reality very soon, because at the rate that the food processing sector is growing, this sector has the potential to transform the lives of farmers, generate the kind of employment that this young India is requiring, and for that we need the funds, we need a dedicated fund and we need dedicated policies for the growth of this sector. And I am happy to say with Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana, where 6,000 crores has been given to my ministry 6 months back, this 6,000 crores is going to leverage another 31,000 crores worth of investment. Agro produce worth almost 1 lakh crores is going to be processed over here. Cold storage equipment, cold chain equipment, reefer vans, to create an entire cold chain grid throughout the country and to make India the food factory of the world is what my ministry is working towards. And I'm happy to say that this ministry, which was in oblivion, has now become one of the top 10 focus sectors of Make in India, and it is one of the top 5 focus centers that every country is looking towards when they come to look to put in FDI inside India.
So, Madam, when you assumed office, what were the key challenges that you faced at that time? And how did you overcome these challenges?
So key challenges, number one challenge which faced the entire UPA government, which was policy paralysis, corruption, lack of grounding of projects. This was exactly what was happening in my ministry. There was everything on paper, nothing on the ground. People were having to come to the ministry again and again and again for approvals. Everything used to be done on file and paper. As soon as I came, the first thing to bring in transparency, to bring in ease of doing business, to implement the Honorable Prime Minister's vision of less government and more governance, I made everything online. You could apply for all your projects that you wanted to put up online. The fund dispersal was online. Everything became online. There was no interaction between government and the promoters, so that everything could be monitored and everything could be transparent. So I would say that was the first policy decision which has really eased, put into place ease of doing business and has given a boost. Secondly, like I mentioned, of Food Safety Standard Authority of India, the way things were done in India, we harmonized it to the way it's done globally, which has again removed a huge amount of roadblocks. Thirdly, I would say that one of the main things was the lack of investment coming into this sector, which through World Food India, where 60 countries from across the globe, 60 top CEOs of top companies across the globe, about 12,000 participants came together on one platform for 3 days in India to promote the food processing sector, actually woke up the world to opportunities in India in this sector. So not only India as a hub for food processing, because the market that we offer is something which is not available anywhere else, but being close to food importing nations like the Middle East and like Japan, India has actually become a central hub for now countries which are looking towards sourcing as well. So I would say that 3 things which were lacking were these 3, and we have successfully managed to overcome all 3 in 48 months.
Madam, during your tenure, you must have met a lot of entrepreneurs and farm organizations and citizens who had been benefiting from the initiatives taken by your ministry. Do you have some memorable experiences or untold stories to tell?
There are so many of them. It's actually a pleasure when you go to so many programs, not just within the country but even outside. I just met with the Dutch delegation today, and there were Dutch companies who have tied up after my visit to Netherlands with our people, and how mutually both have benefited. I have been to so many mega food parks where I've interacted with the farmers who have benefited with this huge industry coming up because the demand for their crop has gone up, and as a result for the demand of the crop going up, the industry has partnered with them to give them new technology, know-how, seeds, and as well as assured prices. So the farmers' lives have been transformed. Same way I will say that I must congratulate our institutions under us, which is NIFTM in Kundli, in Sonipat in Haryana, as well as IIFPT in Tamil Nadu, which are the only 2 institutions really for the food processing sector, which does BTech and MTech courses. 100% placement for all students passing out, and not only that, NIFTM has been rated the 50th university in the country ranking, and IIFPT has got the 87th in the rankings of India. which I think says a lot, that not just that they're giving good education, but are they giving their students, are ensuring that they get good jobs, but at the same time through their outreach programs and training programs, they're working on what is being taught in the labs to be implemented on the land through their village adoption programs, through their outreach to farmer programs. We've seen the banana farmers of Tamil Nadu who have been transformed, where there was huge wastages in banana, but working with IFPT in techniques on how to harvest, how to transport, how to pack. They have not just become from banana farmers, they become banana exporters now, where their income has increased manyfold. Same way with the onion growers of down south. These small onion growers, who there was huge amount of wastages, with the machine and technology that IFPT has worked to make it specific to what they require, their incomes have been enhanced 5 times the amount. I would say NIFTM with their incubation center, with their food testing labs, with their trainings. Now farmers can come with their crop, they don't need to put up the infrastructure, come to the incubation center at NIFTM, process what they have not been able to sell at the mandi, brand it and sell it as a processed variety. And what our aim is to put farmers into value addition, not just farming but towards value addition. Without having to put up the entire infrastructure, they can use these incubation centers of these 2 institutes and enhance their incomes.